This is how much storage I have for that, but I do need that to be calculated a little bit further. How did I do it on Nauvis to make it nice and neat? Isn't that already deducted though? Ah, there we are. Yeah, yeah. I deducted that out first, so I did just do it off to the side. That's fine. Right, remove that. So I want to remove the jelly nuts that are available from this value. Take my total storage minus existing jelly nuts. Output the new storage. And then it's a simple decider. Well, actually... No, it's another arithmetic, as it happens. I know it's not particularly pleasant to look at right now, but it is what it is. Actually, I can probably move this up here now. That is ugly as sin, though. My sincerest sadness is that I can't, I can't power that in the same way because of that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to use the substation at this point then. Not the worst idea, but right. So this is how much storage I've got left. In a way, I would rather these be the other way around, but I guess I could just bring all of that over this side. Actually, you know what? Sure. Let's make it a little bit tidier. If I'm not willing to do that, then why am I even bothering? There we go. That will power everything, so I don't need to worry about it. Especially if I do that. I'll lose the light on that part of the station, but that's okay. Right, so let's have a look. That's got the information coming from the main signal. That's moving up. This is also moving up. And I want this one to simply divide. This should join up with this one. There we go. I'll have the output of the remaining storage, the amount that a train can hold. Divide the remaining storage by how much a train could bring in one cargo wagon full. Output that as limit so that it'll only accept full train loads at a time. There we go. And that reads limit. There we are. That station is now complete. Let's just hook it up to power just so I can see that in action. So how many can we take? We could take 4. Now, here is the kicker, is that I don't want it to request 4 of them. I only wanted to request 1. So at this point, we would use a decider combinator to take that signal and just check, is it above? Is it positive? If L is positive, output L, but just 1. Now that's why I created the combinators on some of the stops on Nauvis to take a max train limit so that I could request more if it could hold more. up to the limit of the stacker that the station had been built with. But this does the job. All right. So we're going to blueprint this. Yoink. Train stop. Ooh, train stop names, but parameterize it. This is fruit. Chests. And I actually think that's all. Because this is intended for only a single cargo wagon, so it's no reason to change that. This one is used for the amount of storage per chest, and because that is now something that can change, I will parameterize that as well. Chest slots. So if I use, for example, a legendary steel chest to make it, then I could change that. Realistically, probably not necessary. Especially because the actual parameter uses this, but in fact, let's not parameterize that, because if I'm going to change it, I have to manually rebuild it anyway, so I could change that at that point. So that isn't required. This shouldn't be fruit, though. It should be cargo. There we are. I think everything else is good. We create a train stop requester, cargo requester. And then we name it 111 cargo request. I'm going to say that's good enough. I'll probably change the name to make it more uniform, though. Am I actually going to have any kind of different size trains? Probably not, so there's no reason to have that in here. That should be good enough. Also, let me know that it's a depot. I will remove that so that I just have these two in here. I think that's good enough. All right, cool. So that's one. I now want the other. I can go right here, I guess. This one will be for your Mako fruit. I need to make sure that it actually does have everything it needs for that. We'll find out in a moment, I guess. Yep, everything seems to be right. That's using the correct stop. Let me go and grab the correct color, though. Is it just straight up red? It might have just been, yeah. There we go. Let's use straight up red. There we go. How did I name the others, though? Did I name them like that? Oh, I had a separator. I'll probably change those stops to mirror this one instead. Oh, I did have a separate. Never mind, I'm good. Okay. Right, now then, I need these to try and connect up here, unfortunately. Which is a bit of a problem, isn't it? I mean, this is in a great position for me to bring all of this together up here, without doubt, but connecting it up down here, pain in the backside. Would have been so good. Yeah, I need them all to move across. Ah, that's so annoying. Also, double junction here is kind of obnoxious. That one cliff. If I could move them up a little bit, I might be able to sort this out. I would still need that to move across a bit more, though. There's not too much of a reason why I can't make that happen. I actually only needed to move across by one. Yeah, that would work. And then I just need to move everything up a little bit. Because right now, that hits... Well, actually, let me pull this up a bit. Just there. So I needed to move up a single tile. We are very, very tight on space here, I will confess. Additionally, let's move this. I can make this a bit nicer for us all. Right here will do. I will no doubt have to change that around a little bit, but that's good enough. There we go. That makes that a little bit easier for me to just shunt all of these up by a tiny, tiny amount. Let me sort this out, though. Okay. Technically, I could have those just merge on that line, but it would not give a balanced unload at that point. Let's try and avoid that. Also, is there still trees around here? My lord. Ah, there we are. That delivers all the fruits into the system. Merged on to 2 mixed belts. I know, again, that there's a lot of people that are like, well, why didn't you just have, since you had 2 belts, why didn't you just have 2 unmerged belts? And that's because because of the length of this bus, I need a long-handed inserter to easily be able to reach both fruits at that point. Technically speaking, at this point from this direction, which is how it always leans. There we are. Right. Working. I knew I was going to have to do that. It's fine. Just because it'll look a tiny bit better. Go out in. This is now one junction which is not ideal, but it is what it is. I want to do the same down here. I could technically, yeah, I could in fact fit a train in there, so that works. So single train could stop it. It's not ideal because trains wouldn't be able to pass. And because of that, and the nature that I need them to go both ways, this is going to be made into a single station, a single junction. There we go. That is all now one single junction. Yeah, I couldn't fit 2 trains there, so I can't put a another one there. So it is going to just have to be all of that as a single place, but that's not the worst thing in the world by a very, 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 very wide margin. Right, so with that in place, I now need... So this is the input. Technically, it would have actually been better if I made these blueprints use the fruits instead of L. That is an irritation. But this is likely to be the only place that's ever going to do this, so I'm just going to turn this into the fruits manually. And each station is going to set its limit based on the fruit. Same over here. One day I will organize all of this, maybe. Maybe. We then want a radar. Might as well just chunk it in the... Well, I could stick it over at the side. I could stick it there. I could stick it up top. Let's stick it up top. Oh, I didn't even hook them up. Oh, my lord. That's garbage. Garbage. So many silly mistakes. But there we go. These are now set. This should be receiving a broadcast of... Where is it receiving the broadcast from exactly? Oh, there? Oh, I had set them up. But why are you getting 3? Is that coming through this? Yeah. Okay, never mind. L is being broadcast by this right now. Is that due to this one? Yes, it is. And it shouldn't be. There we go. So, there we go. These are now broadcasting what they want, and that is fruit. So this would be able to pick up that signal. Oh, actually, yeah, I do need it. Balls. Alright, so I'm going to need to make this signal one way. So let's do that. I do actually need that signal to be delivered. So we go over here. Each plus 0 output each. And that makes the signal a one-way signal for all intents and purposes. Now, I realize that there is not as much reason for me to have this wireless system over here, considering their proximity. But there is a chance that in the future, in fact, there absolutely will be a need for this elsewhere. So I think I would rather... No, there really isn't a reason. I'm just being silly. There is no justifiable reason. So I'm just going to have this bring through that signal. There we go. But instead of broadcasting it over here, I'm going to deliver it manually. Can that reach? Oh, it can't. How inconvenient. I actually do want this to be filtered though. There we go. There we are. Signal's going through now. As necessary. Right. Hey, Manic Manufer. Happy birthday. Penblwydd hapus I chi. Okay, so now I can make the farms request fruit in the same way. However, I do now need to make a specific fruit pickup, which is a bit less great. Right, so I will want to create a Passover on this track. And since I already have these, yeah, thinking about it, let's go ahead and pop that back, but let's also, can I please? No? Why must you be like this? All I want in this life is to be able to make this easy. Why? Why? Why am I being punished? That is way too wide. I think I need this to be 2 out, don't I? Yeah, probably. Oh. There you go. Now then, can I remove just the landfill? I probably can, actually, if I make a filter just for landfill. Okay, they are not considered. There we are, landfill. Unnecessary landfill be gone. Oh. Nope. It will remove the landfill and take the thing that's on top of it with it. That's annoying. Okay, well that's less than useful then. I just want this to be pretty. Why is that so hard? Oh well. Just have to be the way it is. Right. Delete that. Grab these. There is a drop down in the decon planner, really? Let me have a look. Oh! Okay, normal tiles are selected when no entities are found. Always, tiles are always selected, even when entities are found. Never, tiles are never selected. Only tiles. Oh. Chat, you glorious, glorious so-and-so's you. So, it does work. Amazing. Thank you. That is useful. Super useful, in fact. Why you like this? I guess I'll have that one there. This one on that side. There we go. Right then. Do I not have any? Oh, I don't... What? What? Hang on. Why am I not... Oh, I turned them off. That's why. Every single time. Actually, at this point, I'm going to make this the junction. There we go. Realistically, I actually do need 2 stations here. One for the fruit and one for the supplies. So how about, instead of doing it this way then, I instead have the 2 stations. It's fine. Also, this means I can run the power up the track, which is just kind of nice, in my opinion. I may as well just run it up at each point where I have a signal pair. That way you can always just follow the tracks to know where your power is going, or rather to follow the power infrastructure. There we go. Right. Now then. I'm going to need that to be much wider, though, for 2 separate stations. That's just a reality. So, I'm probably going to want them... Well, actually, no. Only this one is going to need to be able to branch down here for the exit point. No, I will need both of them to be able to do it. Not ideal, I know, but it'll serve its purpose. Let's move that. Move this. Now, the other thing I can do here, realistically, is I could have a cross at the top instead. That would probably be visually much, much nicer. So let's do that one. Okay. Right, sadly, I am going to need all of this to move. I'm probably not even going to want this to stay as it is, if I'm honest. My inventory is full of junk. This is definitely something I'm going to look forward to if I set this up the correct way. Is that everything will be able to... I'll probably make it so that the supply train will pull any random gubbins out of the system before it leaves. The fruit train is simply going to be here to collect fruit. That's all it cares about. But the supply train can care about everything else. I would very much like that. My factory lost power? No. No, it's just low on nutrients, but that's fine because most of the systems that need it are currently shut down. Thank you for checking, though. Right, so trains. I want... This only needs to load on one side. And I don't need to check whether it has the availability that I have on other stations. So actually, this is going to be so much more of a bespoke setup that I'm going to just do it differently. Right. Pickup. Yes, that's what I want. Enable train limit should always be 1. Oh, sorry. Saw flash. Yeah, no worries. No worries about that at all. Absolutely no stress. Actually, undo that. How about I do one thing and I grab the light setup that I've got over here. I'm fairly certain that light lines up quite nicely. The very tip at the top of the track. And that shows me conveniently where all of the bits are. Right, this can go, as can that. This is the entry point. So that means this is going to be the same on this side. And at this point, we are going to do something a little bit like that. Same down here. There you go. Exit. And entrance. There you go. Clunk. Alright, there we are. So at this point, I do want the clock system that we've got over here. It's a pretty simple little thing. But it is important for me to have it, as it dictates... Hey, Sheila! Oh, thank you very much. How was the trip to the shops? Cold, is it? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. You look like a Frosty the Snowman. Thank you. Sheila just brought me some matcha. This is going to sound weird, chat. When Sheila came in from the outside, she smelled of the cold. That's how cold it is out there. I know at least a couple of you will know what I mean. Oh, that matcha is amazing. Right. Gonna pop that there. Gonna get rid of this and that. And I'm gonna move these two across the side like so. And this now sets the priority of this station. Don't need to read the stop train. Don't need to read the train contents. This should fill until it can go. Hey, Bubbles. Yep, I know that smell. Yeah, I knew at least a couple people would. It's not snowing where I am. It's snow everywhere else in Britain right now, but me, I don't get wonderful things. I just suck, apparently. I do not get snow. I have got frost. Now, don't get me wrong. Frost is quite nice. But I would have liked snow. Really? This makes me ultra sad in so many ways. Fine. Whatever. I'll connect it up. Well, no, I'll connect it up down here, I think. Right, okay, so all this needs to know is whether the train is on its way. It'll set its priority based on this. That train priority needs to be broadcast all the way down here. So we connect that up to this as well. And I'm going to have one of these in the... Actually, you know what? Since I'm doing that, I may as well have this all the way up here. Somewhere where it can easily maybe there? Would this be able to connect to it from there? It would. Perfect. So that one no longer needs to connect. There we are. Glorious. So, that one's getting its power from this area now. That's getting plenty of oomph there. Could I sneakily just plonk one of these down and not have to worry about it? Oh, I can. Brilliant. I can get rid of that then. Alright, that looks so much better. All this needs to do is supply the priority. That is literally it. As for train loading... How do we want to load the train? I could do it in a very clumsy way, but it would allow the train to load quickly at least. Doesn't need to be swanky. Just needs to work. And I know I could have them load directly off the splitters. I just don't like doing it. For lots of reasons. I feel it just looks ugly. I like to see the belt it's loading off. Did mine just sheep razor axe? Also, hey, oh my. Hey, could you explain your circuit here? How does it work and what it does? Candidly, do you mean this little circuit here? Happy to explain anything, by the way. Sorry, I missed your comment. You know what? I don't have timestamps on in my chat for some reason. What a silly thing. Can't even see how to turn timestamps on. I don't know when it got turned off. Most vexing. Chat appearance. There we go. Ponk. There we are. Now I can see. So yeah, if you mean this little circuit here, candidly, all this does is sets the priority of the train yard. The reason I'm doing that is that I'm trying to create a system whereby my farms do as little antagonizing of the local pentapod population as possible. So my goal is to have lots of different farms around the world and to visit each one only occasionally. That way, when a train is visiting, the farm kicks into life, does a harvest, does a replant, and then won't be visited again for a while because the pollution, the spores, is only generated when you harvest the trees, not when they're growing. So if I give nice long periods of rest between the harvest cycles, then the spores that a single farm produces will have plenty of time to be kind of to settle, to dissipate, for the pollution to be absorbed by the surrounding tiles rather than the surrounding pentapod nests, because as you add more pollution, it continues to spread out and spread out and spread out. There's kind of a passive pollution absorption rate, and anything over that is just going to gradually expand your ring of pollution, thus attracting more and more attacks. And so I'm trying to operate on a system of just these kind of occasional spikes of pollution, which then have plenty of time to be reabsorbed and to settle down without causing too much chaos. And so I have little counters. Pentapods do evolve like biters, yeah. Pentapods and biters use the same settings in that regard. So this is just creating a constant signal of P equals 1. This then checks... Oh, actually, I do need to read if the train is there. My bad. This then checks if the train is present. And as long as a train isn't present, it will allow the count of the priority signal to continue counting. Its output is attached to its input, so because this is always adding 1, if this just outputs what the count was, the count will get incremented by 1, and this will keep happening, but only up to the point that the train arrives. The second the train arrives, this stops outputting the count, and so priority defaults to 1 because it's no longer going to be incrementing. It's just going to be the constant signal of 1. So if a train is in station, this resets the counter for all intents and purposes. And then I divide this by the number of how often I want the priority to increase. So 3,600 is the amount of ticks in a minute. There are 60 ticks per second. And so it's literally 60 times 60 to 3,600. And it divides the current count of the priority signal by that number to get the true priority of the station. And that way, effectively, the station that was visited the longest ago is the one that will be visited first. That's all that little bit does. And this is just so that I can see. That's all this one does as well. That's purely just so I can see what the priority is. Now, what I am going to have to do... Since I don't want P to be incrementing too frequently... To make this system better, I actually need to isolate the train signal from the priority. I can't simply connect these wires up. Otherwise, it would be doubling the effect of the priority count. So, I would want this signal to run down here, or I could use a red signal. In fact, a red signal would be fine either way, because that's the only one that this is going to be broadcasting. So if I were to just connect those up like so, then this would read if the train was there. And just to demonstrate that, well, actually, I would need a train to specifically visit the station. But that red signal from this will tell this if there is a train there without adding to the priority count. As for the loading, it's literally if it runs out of stuff to do, really. Right, which then brings us to the resupply train. Redesigning this is going to be a pain. I'm not going to lie. It's not the part that I'm looking forward to. But it is a part that I need to do, ultimately, so... but for the time being, let's just go ahead and copy this particular setup then. There we go. That is my station. I want to parameterize it. What cargo can be collected here? All of this is part of the display, which is ugly, but there we are. That's what it displays if it's been over 9 minutes. Yeah, that's pretty much all we need, though. So I want to grab you. I want to make sure that I'm using the train stop names. Don't need tiles. Yeah, train stop names. I will have this as, I guess. Now, this is a very specific one. Because normally I wouldn't want cargo stops to work like this. I'd want them to read what was there and make sure it only called a train. Oh, actually, there's one other thing. Actually, because, oh yeah, we do need to add a little bit more circuitry now because I'm running on the dispatcher system. I actually need to tell this when a train is on its way that it's to remove one, to deduct one of the appropriate signals from the system. So what does C, let's have a look. Includes the stop train. So as long as C is above 1, yeah, I'm going to need a radar then. Radar is going to have to be a part of this system. Which I could easily pop over here, I suppose. I'll need 2 components. One will be this. The other will be this. And this needs a red circuit. This can connect up there with a green circuit. And then this green circuit goes to the radar. I use the green as... Unfortunately, I've mixed my definitions a little bit because on Nauvis I use green as my train signal. But here I'm specifically, I tried to be to have a system where red was a command signal and green was something like an inventory count. Well, we'll just have to go with that. Regardless, I want to take each, multiply by -1, output each. And this will read if C is greater than 0, then I want to output the fruit 1. And what this will do is when there is a train that has reserved this station, it's going to take one of the deliver fruit jobs off the kind of the global board. Probably unnecessary in this case, but since I am going to have multiple fruit farms that a train could go to, it does seem like it might be a smart move to do. And my farm specifically will only be active when there is a train on the way. Right. So that should do everything we need to do. Now again, as I was saying, normally I would not want the system to be as simple as this. So these are kind of unique stations in that regard. But so I'm going to say that they need a unique station appearance. This is a pickup station. Does need to show that it's a cargo train though. Actually, let me just double... Well, I could have changed that, but let me just double check. How did I name my stations? There we go. Scrap that. That'll be a bit better for me. That one needs to be changed because it's now a 111. There. Done. And as for the actual books themselves, I've just got... Oh, it looks like just a cargo and then a pickup. Which, I guess, makes sense. And loading the cargo isn't as important there. I could go with a very similar system, but I think I would rather load only from one side here. I don't know. What say you, chat? So I load from two sides? No, I don't have enough room between the two stations, and I'm always going to want that at every... In fact, ooh, actually, you know what? This is a reasonable question here. I should probably just make the supply stop and then do the whole thing as no, I won't do that because it makes it hard to flip that then. And I know I'm at least going to have to flip it once over here. I'd need 2 copies of the station, left-handed and right-handed. No, this will be good enough, I think. This will be good enough. I will be honest, one of the biggest things that I struggle with is the feeling that I want a uniform system, and I keep humming and hawing between what I've got and what I want, and I'll come up with different minds. I want a unified system so it's nice and understood, but oh my lord, such a pain. Let's go with again the same. This will be a fruit pickup station. I'll just think of a different way of saying that it's more of an advanced one. This one should be enough. Right, there we go. I want to parameterize it. I want to mark this as cargo. Train stop names, and we should be good. I think. There we are. I want a generic cargo drop-off as well. Sorry, pickup. That'll definitely be something I'm going to want to do. But these are specifically the farm stops, so that they're going to be less generic than these ones. All right. Waterproof bubbles, and I should get out of bed and have some breakfast. I need to ring my PO box and make sure that the parcel is stored there. I will have to, well, probably do that tomorrow because I'm likely to finish the stream way too late to call them. There was all kinds of shenanigans with my PO box. Sadly, the store where I had, because I do my PO box through mailboxes, MBE. And they have 3 stores in Edinburgh, because Edinburgh's a big city. They've got stores distributed across the city. And the one that I had my PO box with closed down. And so they're like, okay, so, you know, we're going to be setting up redirect and all that. But, you know, in the meantime, you've got 2 other stores that you can now collect your mail from. Which one do you want? So I did all of that. So unfortunately, there's probably going to be some kerfuffle with picking up the package. Or rather, I'm hopeful there won't be, but I'm also bracing for it. Because it would be just my luck. Let's make sure that you are not Are you just out of range? Oh, man, that sucks. Anyway. There we go. I can call them on tea break is assuming that there's not going to be a delay, and I'm assuming there's going to be one. I'm just not going to stress over it while I'm streaming. Right, so... Oh, man. Okay. So, with regards to the train, I've only got one cargo wagon now, so I don't need to worry too much about it. What does your radar tell your train? Well, for this one, it's purely broadcasting. This radar is broadcasting a signal. It's not telling this train anything. But down here, this radar tells the train... okay, so normally I would have had a radar here also broadcasting the signal from my pickup stations, and these would each individually say, hey, I've got room for this cargo. Broadcast out on the radar, and then it would be get to the dispatcher. The dispatcher would then be responsible for passing that signal on to trains to tell them where to go. But the collection points also do something. Effectively, with the interrupt system of trains, you can only make a push system. That is to say that the stations are effectively only telling the train when they want to push something onto the network. It's very difficult to make a pull system because trains don't reserve their slot at the next station in the list. They reserve the slot at the current station in the list. And that is extremely relevant because what you want with a logistics system is for trains to be only dispatched when they're needed. You don't want to send all of your trains to the same job when you only wanted one train to be doing it. And the problem with the push system is that while that works for the collection station, the one where you're going to collect the cargo, the station where you drop that off doesn't work so well. Now, in a lot of ways that people use Factorio, that's fine because a lot of people play Factorio as a push system. If they want to back up their belts, they want to just keep generating stuff until it can't be stored anywhere, and then wait until it is needed, effectively. But to make a really cool kind of train logistics system, you kind of want more of a pull system because you don't want the train to be clogged up. Because otherwise you end up needing as many trains as you've got stops, and that kind of defeats the whole point of having a smart dispatcher. The whole point of a dispatch system like this is so that you can get by with many stations and fewer trains, servicing them because they're only doing stuff when it's needed. Because quite often a train's load of cargo takes a while to build up, that sort of stuff. So the way a pull system would work versus a push system, which is I've got stuff that I want to get rid of, come collect it, and then train collects it, and it's like, okay, where do I drop this off? Oh, there's nowhere that wants it yet. Well, I guess I am now stuck until someone wants it. With a pull system, the train doesn't try to collect something until there is somewhere for it to deliver it to. Now, a pure pull system would also be possible with this system, but that is likewise a little bit messy. I think you could make a pure pull system anyway. I didn't really look into it too in depth. The best system is a pull-push system. So to achieve that, you need the train to be able to... It's given a list of jobs. There's these many stations that have something and this many stations that want it. Are there any pairs? That is to say, is there a station that wants stone and a station that's providing it? If so, go to the station that's got the stone, collect it, then go to the station that wants the stone, drop it off, and then go back to the dispatcher. You're effectively making the collection and delivery an atomic action, what's called an atomic action, which is ironic because, you know, the whole reason it's called atomic is because you can't split it. Well, Manhattan Project would like to have a word with you. Nevertheless, you creating an atomic push-pull system means that your trains are never going to be clogged. They're never going to be waiting. They will always be in a state of readiness. The only time they'll be waiting is when there is nothing to do, and that's fine. That allows you to then tune the system so that you've only ever got 1 or 2 trains waiting for a job. And you might have dozens of stations, but you might get by with just 1 or 2 trains because of the kind of the way that the stations are needing things and wanting them, wanting to push them and wanting to pull them. But the problem with the pull-push system is that when you get the signal of a station saying, hey, I want stone, and you check and there is a station that wants to give you stone, the moment the train leaves to get the stone and the next train pulls into the depot, it's going to see a station that wants stone. Even though a train is technically trying to fulfill that request, because it can only reserve the stop that it's going to, not the stop that comes after that, whilst the train that is looking for places that want to deliver stone might see the original stone mine, and that's like, yeah, no, I can't take you. I've already got a train on the way. What if you got 2 stone mines? Or let's say iron mines, which is much more likely the case. Well, the second iron mine is like, well, then there's no train coming here, and I've got a full wagon load of iron, so come along, come collect it. So now your second train goes off to collect, let's go back to the stone analogy, your second train goes to the second stone mine. They both intend to try and deliver it to the stone requesting station, but that only wanted 1 train's worth. So then you end up with the situation of 1 train is full of a cargo it can't get rid of and is now effectively locked down. And the worst scenario is if that cargo was a very slowly consumed cargo, like stone. All of a sudden, that train might be out of the picture for the next, I don't know, a very long time. So the reason why I have, this is a very long-winded explanation, I realize. Thank you very much for your patience, and well done if you're still with me. The reason why I negate the signal when I have a train coming to a station like this, which is saying, hey, I've got Yamako fruit. The second a train is on the way, which I can check by the train count, this starts broadcasting a -1 Yamako fruit job signal. Because that train can't also lock down the delivery station. And that delivery station is broadcasting a need for Yamako fruit. It's broadcasting, I need 1 Yamako fruit. If the station that the train is going to pick up Yamako fruit from starts broadcasting a -1 Yamako fruit, those 2 signals cancel each other out in the network. So effectively, for all intents and purposes, that train has reserved both the pickup station and the drop-off station. It hasn't actually reserved the train slot, but no other train can see that job anymore. So that's why I do it that way. Couldn't you just put extra trains into the track so they could sit at the unload depot? Zuni, this comes back to what I was saying before. Yeah, you could do a whole train setup where you have 1 train per station, but why would you be using interrupts then? You may as well just code each train exactly for the job that it's going to do. This is the idea of a smart system. You don't need that many trains. Why waste the time with a train that's just doing nothing 90% of its time? This would allow you to have like a dozen stops with 2 trains. This is just a workaround for the fact that a train can't reserve track space at multiple stops down its route, even if it knows which stations it's going to be going to. This allows me to create a situation where I'm not reserving spots at the station, I'm just reserving jobs off the job board. Anyway, so back to what we were doing. Now that I only have 1 wagon on, or, well, the intention is 1 wagon per train. This system doesn't need a notification of the train on the way. That's not going to be required at this particular stop. This is a supply stop. Also, I should change the name to reflect that. 111. This should be outpost 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. supply. There we go. If I want a generic train to be able to do this, though, I do need... yeah, I'm going to have to observe the same setup. So I'm going to use something that I'm going to... I could use the S signal, but I'm worried about that. So instead... okay, yeah, you know what? Let's go back with the bullet train idea. Let's use the bullet supply. Bullet request. There we go. And color can be yellow. Sure. Hey, Cecil Kane. How goes the living self-resuscitating factory? It's currently asleep because I'm rebuilding all of my trains. But it's going very, very well. Outside of that. So what we are going to want over here is I'm going to want outpost supplies. This is great. Also, have I got one of these? I don't. Fruit seeds. Let's change that. Well, actually, let's add another section. Gleba. So I know where this signal should be used. And then I'm going to have... yeah, just fruit seeds. Does exactly what it says on the tin. 150 of them at any one time. That's it. Well, actually, they are stored in groups of 10, so maybe not. Let's go with 22 stacks. 2 stacks is good enough. Most of these should be a single stack or less. Not going to need that many. In fact, I'm going to say I barely need any at any station, but I'll take 5, I guess. These are fine. A decent amount of inserters is reasonable, I think. Let's move things around a little bit so I can be more clear on what I'm doing. Do I want the fast bit? I really don't know. I guess I'll accept them for now. I do not need that many repair packs. If I'm burning through 200 between supply runs, there is a problem somewhere, and it's a bad one. 5 of those. Logistics bots, 25. 25 construction bots, that's fine. As far as chests go, I've been growing on buffer chests. I've really started to take a liking to buffer chests, I'm going to be honest with you. But I guess for now it's not necessary. Yeah, I am actually going to request buffer chests. I want some electricity, that's fine. I want some inserters, that's also... I'm also going to need long-handled inserters, though. So, bring me 50 of those. Well, actually, you know what? Bring me 20. I don't need this train to bring me full stacks. That just means there's more to be lost when the station is exploded. Let's hope it doesn't get exploded, but let's plan for the possibility it might. And I don't need to bring this much ammo with me every time I go out. The idea is that we're not going to need that much ammo, and if I do need it, I can do several trips. This keeps down the amount of, well, actually 500 seems a reasonable amount. This keeps down the amount of stacks that I'm using. 200 of these. Let's also grab... Probably don't need many of these, so I'm just going to take a couple. I think that's about everything I need. With the exception of the... oh, damn, the combinators. Yeah, because every place, everything I build has got combinators in it, let's be honest with us. Do I want to bring the tracks as well? Rail. All of this needs to fit in a single wagon now, which is the problem. You know what? No, we're only going to allow a single stack of anything. I can't afford to be frivolous with the space that I'm using. Single stack only. And I believe a train can hold 40. So we're below 30 right now, but that's about to go up. I would like a stack of rails for repairs. Though it does beg the question, how's it even getting there if the rails are... you know what? No, don't need it then. If the rails are damaged, I can't even get there. So there's no reason. Do I want combinators? No. And for the same reason, I'm not going to bring along the signal face either. That's something I only need when I'm setting the place up myself, and I should bring those materials along with me. Because that gives me a little bit of extra room then that I can go back to having a couple of stacks of ammo. And a few stacks of walls. So the walls aren't really getting that damage, so I'm not entirely certain I need it, but... Okay, seems to be good enough for me for now. This is the defense supplies, that's the seeds. I will make another section, which will be gleba, jelly nut seeds. Oh, so we're coming up to about the time for tea break, but since Lady Sheelab just delivered matcha to me, I'm going to push it another 20 minutes. There we go. But I'm going to turn that one off. Don't need it turned on. I think that's good enough. Right. So this particular station is going to need to do quite a few things. First and foremost, setting the train limit will be based on... Yeah, I'm going to need to set the train limit. And I'm going to want to use the signal of bullets to set that. I'm going to want to read the train contents. Going to want to read whether the train is stopped. I don't need to know if a train is on the way, nor do I need to know the priority for what I'm going to be doing. Oh, delicious. Yeah, I know I've got research waiting. It's just that there's not really any research with me doing right now, if I'm perfectly honest. And I kind of want to research as I want. Like, if it's something I need. I could throw down some of the infinite researches, but... it would just be... Yeah, no, I'm not going to bother. It would just be activating the factory for no particular reason right now. Right, so that's all well and good. I'm going to want to have a couple of things specific to this station. First and foremost, I'm going to want... well, I've got power there, so I don't need this strictly. I can yoink you. Honk. In fact... How about I just go ahead, horizontal shift. I'm not going to use this. But that puts things where I need them. For the new shape of the of this area. All right. Now over here, I'm actually going to need to call a train if it's something I require. What am I passing this signal down here for? I am passing this signal down there specifically for the station over there. So realistically, I should probably filter this so it's only going one way. I should have done that already. I think I will update this for that. I want to keep the signals isolated correctly. So I only want the signal to go downstream. And specifically, actually the only thing I want is the count. So that should really be the only thing I'm sending. I just want to know if that should activate right now. So there we go. That sorts that out. And to that end, let's go ahead and update that that station. Don't need the tiles. Cargo. Save blueprint. There we go. Oh. Yeah. Let me just double check that again. Yeah. Okay. Save blueprint. Right. Now on this side, I am going to have to broadcast the request for the station, but I'm also going to want to load the necessary items. So there's a couple of things I'm going to be doing with this one. Let's first grab this. This is what I'm requesting for the station. You know what, I'm going to grab all of these, get rid of them. I will want... I guess it doesn't matter to have a spare radar. Is there particularly any reason not to? None that I can think of. So we'll keep that there. I also want a... Roboport. Now, I'm going to want to translate how much available bots the Roboport has. So, with that in mind, I will grab this. Yoink. Gonna rotate that around. Gonna have this just tucked in here. Like so. These are requesting the bots. But additionally, they should only load those specific bots. So, construction bots over here. And logistics bots there. There you go. Realistically, this should be any quality. These don't matter. I very much doubt I'm going to be sending over high quality bots, but you know, you never know. There we are. These then load those as needed. But I'm also going to want to translate that information into other things for me. So I'm going to want these. Well, sadly, to make this work, I have to read the bots, but I also don't want to read those bots. I want a separate signal to keep this nice and tidy. So I might even go, this is ugly way of doing it. But if I have 2 roboports, then I could read a couple of other things. No, I will just read the logistics network contents. It's fine, and I'll just deal with those numbers. But to translate them, I need arithmetic combinators. 2, 1, 2. And these go up there. And this is simply whatever X is translates into logistics bots. Actually, no, I don't need to do that because I'm going to have the logistics bots in the logistics system. Oh, this is where I'm going to need buffer chests now. Because whilst buffer chests can request items to themselves, like the requester chest, because they can still deliver items from themselves into the network, they just have a very limited willingness to do so. Generally, if the player is requesting it or it's needed for construction, then it will deliver it. But because it can deliver things, it still broadcasts what its content is, whereas a request chest won't. So what I was going to do is I was going to read how many bots were in the system and use that to tell whether I needed to request a train with bots. But I won't. I'm just going to check how many available bots I have to inject into the system. Also, a train has run out of fuel. Where? Oh, it's because it was there for a bajillion years. This is the problem. That is the problem, chat. Okay. We need to do much to change the trains back here. Could you... You've got a cargo of nuclear fuel. I would like more. Oh, well, actually, that's all you're going to get. Alright. Let's go then. Oh, actually, no. Let's go then. We'll drive over. I'll deliver it into the system at that mine. And then request it into the train. I'm going to have the bots insert the fuel. It's just I need to have the fuel there. I mean, I guess I could have pulled... Maybe there's some trees or something down here. Actually, no, there's not. And also, there's not a roboport either. Wow, shit. Okay, well, I'm going to need that then. Be right back. Really? None in storage, eh? That is unfortunate. Let me fix that. Thank you. Whoa! We need to have a word. Tak Chan the Younger. Oh, threaded the needle there. Okay, maybe we don't have to have a word. You're significantly more agile than your predecessors. Just a little bit of lumberjacking, you know. Ah, crap. Why am I even requesting construction robots when I don't have them? God damn it. Alright. Fine. I forgot these. These are not as capable as Tank Chan was. They are engines of war and engines of war only. They care not for the art of constructing. They're not trying to make happy little landscapes full of happy little accidents. They're here to kill biters and only to kill biters. Hopefully there is a bot on the way with that. Okay, one entity missing. Well, that's unfortunate. Okay then. Could you make me one? Biter guts are happy little non-accidents. Well, I mean, that's true. Ah. Sorry for the slurp. It was tasty, though, if that makes any difference. There we go. On the make. Allow you to make one more. Right. Yep. Okay, we're good. God damn it. Why is there a cliff there, though? Oh. I miss Tank Chan. I like really miss Tank Chan. So many things you take for granted until they aren't there anymore. Oh, they're on the way. I know you can remotely operate a tank, but can you transport yourself between planets instantly, or do you need to physically get on a ship each time? You need to get on a ship each time, yeah. Though, as was pointed out in chat there is probably already mods on the way for that. It is very satisfying watching the trees just kind of disappear in a line wherever Tank Chan the Younger goes. It's actually going to be kind of annoying to do. Yeah, actually, this will be quite annoying to do. Didn't even occur to me, but I'm not going to be able to load them in there, am I? That's just very vexing. I can't manually unload, you see. And I don't have personal logistics. Like, logistics bots don't do anything on a personal level. So quite literally, the only way to get this to work would be to bring over roboports. Oh god, that's going to be annoying. Could use an inserter, but how would I get the things into the chest to insert? That's what I mean. You need logistics bots to move that stuff. Oh, to pull items out of the tank. Huh. Is that a thing, chat? I can certainly try it. Sure. I don't need that many. Don't even need that many, realistically. You can't read the tank's contents for conditions, though. That's fine. I can still put a filter on the inserter. What a pain in the backside this is, though. I hate so much about what's going on right now. Okay. Is there a better spot for power? Probably here is going to be the best one. Yes. There we go. Oh, thank heavens. Now you've got logistics bots, I don't need to worry as much about this. Right, I want you to have nuclear fuel. There we are. Off it goes. Amazing. It stole one from me, though. Rude ass. But it's done. The trains are moving. Glory be. All right. Okay, well, that's done. Man, that was quite a frustrating situation, but, you know, here we are. Right, so over here, I'm going to want... Well, there's only going to be one train's worth of cargo. No matter how much stuff that's in the train, I'm only going to be pulling out one train's worth of cargo. So I'm going to be able to do with this. Use filters. Override stack size. I'm going to want to hook these up over here. Like so. Set stack size. Set filters. There we are. Okay. Now then, chat, that little detour there cost me a fair bit of time, so... Oh, that's not what I meant to do. So, instead, we're going to have to go on the tea break now. Got many stompy bases around the place, which is worrying to me. I might want to pop down some more radars around the place, but for the time being, all that remains now is to set up the means by which this station will request something it is lacking. And... Oh, well, rather, it's going to request the train. It's not going to know what's on the train. And the train isn't going to know if it's managed to fulfill that request. Unfortunately, that's one of the downsides of a sushi train. It is possible to do, but it's logistically complicated. You'd have to use both channels on the radar for different signals. One to say, hey, I want this kind of thing I want this kind of train to deliver blah, blah, blah. And the other one saying, hey, if it's a supply train, this is what's needed on it. But this would cover most things. I'm going to want this to read the logistics network on the red signal, because I'm not going to allow these two to mix up. But when we come back, we're going to continue putting together our new train stop, and once that's done, I need to make a train supply stop. The opposite of this, a pickup stop for trains, because we've got a pickup for fruit, a drop-off for fruit. I need a pickup for outpost supplies, and then I need to update these stations likewise to this one. So there's two stations at each one for outpost supplies and one for the fruit. And then, and only then, the system will be primed and ready to go. And we can get back to actually dealing with factory. It's going to be great. I'm a little bit concerned about our power situation, though. Not going to lie. We're burning through that a little bit faster than I would like. I need to get production of rocket fuel back up and running. So we might have to turn on at least the fruit trains before then. We'll see. But time for a tea break, chat.